Welcome. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "Never trust an idea that didn't come to you whilst walking in trees." I love this quote. I'm going to say it again. Never trust an idea that didn't come to you whilst walking in trees. In this video, I'm going to be unpacking this beautiful quote from the perspective of cognitive science and neuroscience to see what insights these fields can afford us to the understanding of the creative process and how walking in trees can make us happy, relaxed, and bring us greater creativity. This will be relevant to anybody who walks, anybody who likes trees, or anybody who has a brain. When we're walking, we are engaging the parts of our brain that deal with balance and coordination. Okay, so we're getting out of the chattering mind, the prefrontal cortex. Don't worry if you don't know what the prefrontal cortex is. It's a part of our brain where the chattering mind takes place. In Buddhist philosophy, they have a Sanskrit word for this called papancha, which means endless mental proliferations. Okay, so when you're strategizing about the future, or when you're ruminating about the past, very often your prefrontal cortex is overactivated. So you go for a walk, it gets you into your body, it gets you out of the overactivation of the prefrontal cortex. This is good for creativity. There's something also to be said for the pace at which walking happens. We have evolved to optimally digest our food at walking pace. We also, walking pace is also best for digesting emotions, and also for digesting those creative ideas that have been swirling around in our subconsciousness. Okay, it gets us out and about. It gets blood and oxygen pumping around our body and into our brain, and it gets us into our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest nervous system, which is exactly the state that we want to be in if we want curiosity and creativity to be at all possible. If we're stressed, we cannot be curious, we cannot be creative. Going for a walk in trees, great for creativity. John Vervaeke is a cognitive scientist who has been doing a lot of research into insight, okay, mental insight, and he's been quoting research that shows that creative insight best comes to us when we are in interplay between the two main circuitries of the brain, those being the default mode network and the task positive network. Again, don't worry if you don't know what these things mean. The default mode network is basically when your brain is idle, it starts looking for problems to solve, okay? Papancha again. And the task positive network is when you're not idle, you're engaged in the task at hand. It's all about here and now. Now, creativity studies are showing best comes to us, creative insight best comes to us when there is a subtle interplay between these two. So if you're doing some low-level physical activity, such as having a shower or making the tea or going for a stroll in trees, that is great for those eureka moments to percolate from your subconscious, because you are putting yourself into a state of being prone to insight. Your creative brain is like a composting unit. Composting units work best when they are slowly and occasionally churned, okay? You don't want your compost to go gloopy, you don't want it to putrefy, you don't want it to rot, you want it to decompose so it can recompose. Similar with your creative brain. You want to slowly churn it. Take it for a walk, okay? Walk your poem through the body. Breathe your poem through the body. Speak it out loud in various different places and see how it sounds, okay? I think we're most articulate when we are muttering to ourselves, walking around in the park like mad people, okay? We are in a state of full-bodied cognition, and there's wisdom to be found there in the park. Your muse is like a dog. It likes to curl up with you sometimes, but it also likes other forms of stimulation. It wants to be taken outdoors. It wants to be able to express itself outdoors. Take your muse for a walk and you will see it run around with greater agility, greater liveliness, and it will have a greater, more expansive sense of being. Having said all of this, it may be that the greatest gift that walking in trees can give us is the fact that it's not actually being creative. There's a lot to be said when it comes to creativity in not being creative. In fact, I would say it's an essential element is disengagement, right? This is in congruence with Taoist philosophy, the concept of Wu Wei, or the path of non-striving. Wu Wei is the path of wisdom. It is the path of greatest efficacy. Why? Lao Tzu, the Taoist sage, once said, the teacher teaches by not teaching. The leader leads by not leading. You could also say that the artist creates by not creating. A poem or your lyrics or whatever it is should not be overwrought, okay? Because we want to have critical distance, right? We need a fallow period that fertilizes our creative mind. We need to have balance in our lives, okay? So a leisurely stroll puts us in the Tao. That is to say, it puts us in congruence with the way things naturally unfold in their own time, in accordance with their own nature. That is to be in the Tao, that is to be in flow. On the subject of flow, the world expert in flow states, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, identified two key features of flow states. The first is that they are autotelic. That's a way of saying that it's something you do for its own sake, for the love of it. Going for a stroll, writing a poem, autotelic, you're doing it for its own sake. You're not trying to get from A to B. You're not being productive by taking a stroll in the trees. You're doing it for its own sake. Number two, the flow state is in the Goldilocks zone between being overstimulating and understimulating. If you're overstimulated, you get stressed, you're not in flow. If you're not stimulated enough, you get bored and you get lethargy, and that's not in flow either. So what we're looking for is a kind of focused buoyancy, right? You're pacing around, you're thinking, you're ruminating on that creative idea, you're enjoying yourself, you're looking at the trees, oh, there's a squirrel, oh, there's a child falling over off their pram, whatever it is, okay? You're in a flow state, you're happy, you're mildly stimulated, and you're thinking about your creative process. And what we're looking for is a state of focused buoyancy. We're absorbed, we're engrossed, we're doing it for its own sake. We're moving with the waves, but we're not becoming unanchored. We are in flow. So Nietzsche was absolutely right to say, never trust an idea that didn't come to you whilst walking in trees. Walking, taking a leisurely stroll in the park is perhaps an indispensable part of your creative process. It gets you out of your chattering mind, your prefrontal cortex, and it engages your body, which means that you're engaging different circuitries of your brain. It's not too stimulating, it's not too boring, and it puts you into a state of flow where you can have those creative insight. It allows your muse to run around, stretch her legs, and it composts your creative mind, gives it a nice slow stir where those eureka moments can arise. If you spent too long here looking at me, staring at your screen, and you're feeling sluggish, go for a walk in the park. Throw a stick at a dog. Start whistling at a bird. Do a cartwheel. Do anything. Just go for a walk. Go away. Come back again. Listen to my next video. You can see more videos like this in my playlist on my YouTube channel called Talks, Workshops and Podcasts, and you can get more free videos of me talking about creative things before I die. Thank you for listening. Any comments, suggestions or questions, please put them in somewhere below my face. If you are a creative and you're trying to bring a creative project into the world, if you're a writer or a performer, I am available to do tuition online on Zoom. So if you want to get in touch, send me a little message and maybe we can work together. Thank you for listening and thank you for your attention. Have a good life and see you soon.